Alright, hello, welcome. My name's Frank. This is No More Paper. Community I am trying to build. Well, I'm not trying real hard, am I? I've got no viewers so far, and I basically treat this as my own video diary. That's okay. It's working. It's helping me. Just so you know, if you're here in the future, I have a link to a Discord in the description. I will never sell anything. I just want to build a community for traders that aren't into the scams, the pump and dumps, whatever. Alright, as I go live, we got a little bit of news coming through. New York State Manufacturing Index. Looking pretty bad. Not that it matters. This market doesn't care about reality in manufacturing. It's been a long time since the market was linked to industrial manufacturing in any kind of way. At 9:15 we have industrial production month over month. I think that's for the entire nation. I don't know. Yeah, U.S. industries. I mean, what would you expect if you have a communist mayor? I know it's the whole state, but the whole state's going way too far to the left. They think that, I don't know, they're crazy. They think that people just wouldn't move. Like you can tax them 50% and they would just have to stay. No, they're going to move business. Whatever. We live in a bizarre world where both sides of the spectrum I loathe. I still can't believe that people think that Democrats are still for the working man. No, they're for the welfare and the destruction of our country as we know it. And guess what? The Republicans are too. They just might want it to happen a little slower and with a how do I say this? A based twist, even though they're not really based. What are you gonna do? I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try and trade and make money. Later this week, we have building permits tomorrow and ADP employment. I don't think much of this will matter against the backdrop of, it's just the timing is convenient. The war ending, and by end I mean they said it would end, doesn't mean it will. And the SpaceX IPO, which I do expect that to crash at some point. But who knows when? I mean, I thought Tesla would crash because their stock price is way above what they bring in. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I should start a company and put it on the stock market. I could make up a bunch of stuff about AI and say a bunch of those fancy words and sell my shares once it pumps and then never look back. It really is easy to get rich. You just have to have no soul. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I still believe too much in the way business should work, the way it does between two normal people. The world keeps on changing far faster than any of us can keep up, and never for the better. At least not lately. All right, let's take a look at headlines if we're not happy enough. Say they fake all their revenue. And I don't understand how they just like keep pushing it forward. Again, this is the result of endless amounts of money being printed. We're paying for this. When you see a company like Google saying, oh, we made this much revenue, they're not really making that much money. They're taking out huge loans, investing it and doing circular financing, doing other tricks. I don't know all the tricks. Smarter people than me explain it. But you can just tell. You don't have to be a genius to look at it and think, well, people don't really buy that much stuff. People don't really click through ads that much. Could they really make that much money from just ads and grow it that much in the last couple of years? No, they're borrowing cheap money because the Fed has kept money far too cheap for far too long. We should not be anywhere near our current rate. We should be far higher. Well, for real, the Fed shouldn't exist at all, but whatever. I don't know if I trust this. The ceasefire. I don't want to look at news anymore. What I do want to check is the price of oil. Okay, it's down pretty good right now. Price of gold is up. That's always good. It's kind of interesting. It is backwards, so Bitcoin is also up, isn't it? I don't know if I have a Bitcoin chart on here. We can put it here. Wow, I didn't even realize this. Yeah, I didn't know this was... It's been a long time since I looked at Bitcoin. I figured it was more correlated to the NASDAQ. Apparently not. So the whole purpose of Bitcoin, if I'm to understand correctly, I don't know much about Bitcoin. I missed that bandwagon. Again, I let myself not partake because it just sounds ridiculous. The concept. But you would think the whole point of Bitcoin is when conflict starts in the world, that it would go up because it's supposed to be this base type of currency that's safe. You know, if a country's inflation gets rampant, but Bitcoin's supposed to be this haven, I guess. So I find it strange that at the ceasefire, it goes up. That's all. I don't know what else to think about it. While we're here, let's take a look at the VIX. Still stubborn a bit. I mean, we dropped hard on Friday, which I have to go back and look at Friday. I wasn't trading. I actually got my holidays mixed up. I thought last Friday was this Friday, so I made plans. Anyway, to me, it looks like in the short term we're still a little stubborn as far as the VIX. We'll see what happens at initial balance. I did say last week that we are still likely to make new all-time highs, but that I think we're close. I think we're close. By close, I mean within a year of a pretty large crash. I don't know what'll do it. I don't know if it's midterms once they're over, or treasury yields just get too high that countries can't ignore it, that the Fed can't ignore it, and they have to start raising rates. I don't know. I'm completely convinced that this whole image that our president was trying to make for himself of almost like a libertarian. He's going to cut spending and do all that type of thing. It's all a complete lie. He's a Democrat. That's it. There are no true Republicans left. What we really need is a libertarian in government. I would probably be the only thing that could turn things around right now. But one of the biggest problems with democracy is everyone votes, even the idiots. It'd be better if we were more, if we had more parties that actually had a chance. The two-party system has basically eliminated the chance for any other party to come through. We'll see. I think we're returning to if you think about it, for most of human history, common man has lived in horrible conditions. Unless you were born a king. Well, even kings didn't have it great either. They were constantly being assassinated or seeing their families murdered. And it's only in the last 200 years or less that people can actually take a breath and have a bit of freedom. It's become clear that it's not going to last. We're going to be torn apart by, again, the folly of visions of utopia. Oh, everybody just deserves everything at all times. Well, who's going to make those things? Well, I don't know. It just happens. The AI robots are going to mine all the resources for us. Yeah, right. All right, let's take a look at charts, see if I can get my bearing about what happened Friday, what's going to happen this week, what important levels there are. Question is now, so we are nearing towards buyers being back in control. There's a lot of momentum. I think we are gonna just shoot right up. We might bounce back a little bit, but that's unlikely. I'm glad I followed my signals and forget what day it was. This day, Wednesday. See, one of the major advantages of building like a system with signals is not so much that the signals are right or wrong, is that it often makes you be more robotic. It doesn't let your emotions take control. If your system is follow this system and that's it, that's a lot simpler than every day trying to figure out everything. Because on last Thursday, I thought we were in a bear market still. I figured we'd bounce right back down. Lo and behold. I mean, I should have known better. Look at Tesla stock. Company that made this thing. Oh, hold on, it's not showing. Wrong page. The company that made this turd. That's the last thing it's built, last car it's designed. You can't wash it. You can't take it through a car wash because it would rust. Now, let's take a look at his stock. 5 years. I think it had its best years in 2020, 2022. As far as sales, their sales were increasing. They're actually selling electric cars because there was a huge government incentive to do so. Look at that, up to $400 some. It's insane. The company doesn't do anything. Their sales are declining. Make it make sense. Now, I'm sure people that study this company say, oh, I don't know. How are they making earnings? I see less Teslas on the road, not more. Maybe I'm wrong. A part of me thinks I should just act like one of the clowns put on a smile just because I have to perform, but it's the same thing that keeps me away from this. Keeps me away from prediction markets and Bitcoin and meme coins and NFTs and all that junk. Alright, let's go back to the real deal. Because the futures market aren't corrupt. Alright, so I think I'm going to keep this range until we break out of this. You might say this is a new range now, that all last week was its own range. We'll see. Each one of these do look distinct from each other. This was like a consolidation range. This was a what I'll call a bear flush, and then recovery, test of the 50 SMA. Now we'll see. Are we returning to a buy the dip strategy where all you have to do is buy the dip and you're going to make money? I don't know. I think I can start to ignore this key volume area. As we've now flushed through it several times. But it does remain an area that most trading has been between these two areas. Alright, so this is no longer valid, I would say. Same thing with that one. This one for sure. Alright, let's take a closer look. I might eventually incorporate more indices as I get those charts set up. Sierra charts is awkward a bit from what I'm used to with TradingView and Trade8. I guess every system's different, but what I would like is to just press a key and all my current open charts would just switch to the Russell or the Dow or gold or oil. I guess I could try to set that up. Sierra charts does kind of let you do whatever. Okay, that's kind of interesting. We are heading down considerably in the VIX. If I would have noticed that earlier, I would have probably bought a contract or two. Why not right now? Wait, I have to be careful. I already have two contracts. All right. Let's take a closer look at what happened on Friday. I don't remember this on Thursday. 1:30. I wasn't trading at that time. I don't remember what news this was. But for having the largest IPO in history, Friday was kind of range bound. It actually hit exactly on my marked key volume area. Came back up against initial balance high. Came back to previous day's close. Actually, Friday would have been a great day to trade. It seemed like it was respecting key areas perfectly. Sunday night opened up, and we've been above VWAP since. Yeah, I think anyone could see the momentum here. Keep pulling up point of control. If I had to guess at the open, I would say we would pull back just a little bit and then immediately take off. The same thing you see so many days. Friday you saw it. I wouldn't say we took off, but I mean this was a nice trend. Probably took them a lot of pulling strings behind the scenes to make sure Friday wasn't a mess. This would be Thursday. It did not behave like that. We did not pull back. But there are several days in the past couple months where, especially if the overnight's up, you get a quick sell-off, people taking profits. It'll pull back to a key area and then proceed further. Price did somewhat respect this naked value area. That's way back from that large down day we had on not last Friday, but the Friday before. Again, I think in the long term, I don't know how many more all-time highs we're going to make. Every time we do, more and more doubts arise about AI and its ability to make money. Everyone compares this to the .com, but I don't see it. The internet did not take massive amount of resources to run back in the day. And it did not make the mistakes that AI makes. Whatever, I've been through it before. And the fact that they call it AI when it's a chatbot. I tried looking up the other day if any of these gigantic companies are doing anything besides just trying to make a better chatbot. Are they discovering any new methods to create more intelligent AI? And they aren't. They really aren't. And the other question is, what if we did? What if we did build an AI that could act like a human? Why not just have a human? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense in the traditional market sense, where every product has an end user. Resources are traded, things like that. What's the best case scenario? That you want a robot in your house and everybody wants to buy it? We're decades away from that, if not more. Probably 100 years away from anything like that that could actually be useful. All right, going into the open, I would say ahead of us, there's a couple previous initial balance areas. Last month's close is very important. That is at 76.5850. I would look out for that. That is also kind of the point where we started falling. If we head lower, I'd be looking for bounces. Of course, if we get a trend day lower, I'm going hands off. So who knows? All right, that's all I have. Good luck, goodbye.